Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. I'm really excited to talk about something that's becoming a big focus for a lot of organizations, how to manage risks when using tools like ChatGPT and uh, Microsoft Copilot, especially when it comes to sensitive data, right? So we have seen a lot of teams rushing to use ChatGPT from marketing to HR, but they often forget to check if sensitive data is being typed into it or pasted into it, right? So that's why it's so important we look at both the benefits as well as the boundaries when we use these tools, right? So we'll keep this session simple and practical. And by the end, you will have a clear picture of what steps you can take to protect your organization's data while using AI. Right, so moving on to the next slide. Right. So before we dive in, a quick introduction. I'm Prateek Nilkund. I lead the data and AI practice here at Royal Cyber. I help organizations get value from AI, but in a way that's responsible and secure. Right. So, and I'm joined by Wasey Ameen, who leads our security practice. He's an expert in keeping sensitive data safe and making sure companies stay compliant as they bring AI into their workflows, right? So together we'll cover the risks, some real examples, and how Microsoft Purview specifically can manage it all, right? So let's have a quick look at the agenda for today, right? So here's what we'll be covering today. We'll start with a quick introduction of the topic. We'll look at the risks and how we assess your current state. Uh, then we'll walk you through how Microsoft Purview helps protect your data from end to end, and we'll share some real world examples as well. Thereafter, we will look at a short demo and finish this session with a live Q&A. Right. So if you have any questions while you are listening to this session, you can drop your questions in the chat window, and we'll answer them towards the end. All right, so let's see what's actually happening right now in a workplace, right? So there are 95% of organizations that are either using AI or planning to. So it's not a future trend, right? It's already here. We have 70%, 75% of employees already using AI in their daily work, and that number has doubled in the last 6 months or so, right? So this figure just goes on to show how quickly AI is spreading, and the thing is, most of this use is unmonitored, right? It's employees just trying to work faster but without any clear policy in place, right? So only 1% of the risk leaders are thoroughly prepared for in order to manage these risks that come with AI, right? So while AI is growing fast, sort of the guardrails or the safety nets are not quite in place, and that's where the real risks lie, right? So let's have a look at the risk landscape, right? So we see over 80% of the leaders are worried about sensitive data leaking through their AI tools. Some are even banning Gen AI altogether because of it, right? So this data leak concern is very real. We have seen even some companies completely block ChatGPT just to stay on the safer side, right? Secondly, only 30%, 31% of organizations have a solid, global data architecture in place. That means most are using AI without a strong foundation, right? And this is the last statistic. It's predicted by the experts that at least one big company will have its AI use banned by regulators for not following data or AI rules, right? So it's clearly we need a structured way to adopt AI, and that's exactly what Microsoft Purview helps with. On to the next slide. Right, so the slide talks to the global regulatory environment, which is ever evolving, right? So right now there are about 137 countries that have laws to protect data and privacy. Right? For example, the EU is leading with AI Act and DORA. The US has CMMC standards for cybersecurity. India has the DPDP bill for data privacy. China and Australia have strong similar frameworks too. And one challenge is that regulations are changing faster than most companies can keep up with, right? So Purview helps here in some of the automation, right, for compliance tracking. So your team does not have to do it manually, right? So whether you are a global or a local company, uh, you know, as this slide suggests, compliance is no longer optional, right? So, right, so let's now shift our focus to a more practical part, right? What can you actually do to keep your data safe, right? While using tools like ChatGPT and Copilot, right? So here's a simple four-step approach to follow, right? Step one is to kind of figuring out where and how AI tools are being used, right? Are employees using it for ChatGPT, Copilot? Are they using it to draft emails, summarizing documents, or generating reports, right? And it's very important to know what types of data are they feeding into these tools, right? It's very common for people to kind of unknowingly paste sensitive content into a prompt, right? Like personal information, financial data, or customer records, right? Even browser extensions to an extent that use AI can be can be risky, right? So the first step is really the visibility part, understanding where GenAI is being used and what's it's touching, right? So once we are through the visibility and to the visibility phase, we are in the discovery phase. Once you know where AI is being used, the next step is to kind of uh, discover or scan your your organizational assets and classify your sensitive data, right? That's where again Microsoft Purview comes in. You scan your data across emails, files, SharePoint, Teams, and kind of automatically label personally identifiable information, financials, or intellectual property, right? So you can use sort of the out of the box classifiers. You can train your own data, detect data patterns, and then because you need a little bit of customization, right? Not everything is out of the box. So all that can be done, and over time we see that Purview keeps learning, making classifications more accurate, right? And the amount of manual effort that's required is reduced quite substantially. Right. The next part is to kind of apply DLP and access controls. So once your sensitive data is labeled, you can now apply some policies that are part of the data loss prevention, right, to keep it leaking into AI tools, right? So just an example, if someone tries to paste credit card info into Copilot, right, they'll see a warning message explaining why that's not allowed. You can also enforce conditional access, right? So only certain teams or roles can interact with AI tools if they are working with critical data, right? So that conditional access part is also configurable, right? So these policies act as guardrails. They don't block productivity, but they certainly help prevent mistakes, right? Um, so once step three is done with, you need to monitor risky behavior, right? So there are many tools out there that help to look at things like unusual file uploads, large data copies, or someone trying to bypass certain policies, right? So let me give you a real example, right? So we worked with a client where employees were copying confidential financial reports into Copilot for summarization, right? So they had no idea those reports included PII, right? So with Purview, we have them detect this behavior and sort of block it automatically and set up policy tips so that users could get a clear message right, before taking that action again, right? So, to summarize, right, this slide, you need to follow these 4 steps. You're not only protecting your data, you're also building a responsible and sustainable way to use AI uh, in your business, right? And the best part is most of it can be automated, so you're not stuck manually reviewing every interaction, right? So that's the power of kind of combining AI with smart controls and governance. So moving on to the next slide, uh, right? So uh, we spoke about Purview in but let us get an overview of what Microsoft Purview is, right? So it brings together data security, data governance, and data compliance all in one place, right? So earlier we've seen a lot of tools. We need to kind of integrate these different tools, and uh, here we have a holistic solution that kind of talks to these different pieces and of the puzzle, and kind of pulls it together, right? So it's like a control center for your AI and data usage, right? So at the base, it uses things like data maps, connectors, labels, and audits to give you full visibility, right? So and each of these areas has strong built-in features, right? So we have data loss prevention, insider risk management, information protection under data security. Similarly, we have cataloging, quality, data management, and data estate health under governance. And we also have e-discovery, audit, communication compliance, lifecycle management, all of those tools and in compliance. So they work together using the same foundation, and you get consistent visibility across these different areas. So uh, what makes Purview sort of really powerful is that how well it connects, right? We have uh, there are Microsoft 365 apps like Office, Teams, SharePoint, your services like Databricks and Fabric, business apps like Copilot Studio, even third-party tools, right? So a big question we get a lot of time is, does it work with Dropbox or AWS as well? And the answer is yes, right? So wherever your data is, Purview kind of helps you track it, protect it, and stay compliant, right? So, all right, now that we have covered the what and the why, let's take a look at what this actually looks in action. I'll pass it on to Wasey, who will go through the how part of it, and also provide a quick walkthrough in the form of a demo of Microsoft Purview and show how it applies to the real AI usage. Thank you.
Thanks, Prateek, for setting the stage so well. Hello, everyone. I am Wasey Ameen, and I head the security practice at Royal Cyber. Now, let's dive into the practical side of implementing Microsoft Purview and how it enables true end to end data protection across your environment. I will walk you through the key components of implementation from policy creation to risk mitigation. And towards the end of this session, I will be also presenting you a live demo to showcase these capabilities in action. Let's take a quick look at the licensing side of things. If you are already on Microsoft 365 E3 or E5, you are just one step away from some really powerful compliance and data protection tools. By adding the E5 information protection and governance add-on for just $7 per month, you unlock features like auto labeling, advanced DLP, insider risk management, and more. It's a small upgrade, but it brings a big boost in visibility, control, and protection across your data landscape. Now, let's talk about how Microsoft Purview helps us control data exposure to GenAI tools like ChatGPT and Copilot. One of the most powerful features here is the ability to apply sensitivity labels. And these labels go far beyond just visual tags. You can control them with usage restrictions like blocking, copy paste, print, download, and forward. On top of that, you can apply visual markings like headers or watermarks to remind users about the sensitivity of the content. But here's where it gets even more relevant today. GenAI specific controls. You can actually block users from copying or pasting sensitive data into tools like ChatGPT or prevent uploads of documents that contains things like social security numbers, personal identifiable information, or any financial information and more using available templates in Microsoft Purview. For example, you might have a label like high confidential, which means do not share with AI. So if any user tried to share or upload that document into ChatGPT or any GenAI platform, user will get an error and the admins will get notified about this sharing. On the other hand, if a user tried to upload a document which has a label applied public safe for Copilot, user should be able to use that document in order to generate a content using a Copilot. On the right hand side, you see how these policies are set up by detecting sensitive information types and automatically applying the label when conditions are met. This way, you are not just relying on users to make the right call, you are enforcing protection at the platform level. Now let's bring it all together and look at how Microsoft Purview helps you enforce DLP policies to prevent data leaks to GenAI tools. Starting with the first diagram on the left, this shows how we can define sensitive service domain groups. For example, we have created one called Generative AI websites, which include domains like ChatGPT, Copilot, DeepSeek, and more. We have applied a simple block action to this entire group, so any interaction with these sites is controlled. Moving to the middle section, you can see how we define sensitive information types, things like Azure AD credentials, credit card numbers, bank details, and social security numbers. This helps us target and protect the most critical data. And on the right side, you can see the granular actions that can be blocked or audited. Copying to clipboard, USB transfer, network shares, printing, and more. These restrictions are triggered only when sensitive data is involved, giving you a precise control without disrupting normal workflows. What makes this even more powerful is that you can apply these controls across browsers, Chrome, Edge, Windows endpoints, and the entire Microsoft 365 ecosystem, including Outlook, Teams, OneDrive, SharePoint, etc. Let's bring it to life with a real world example. In this case, a legal associate tries to use ChatGPT to help draft a client NDA, but they attempt to reference content from confidential legal documents in the process. Now, thanks to Microsoft Purview, this is exactly where our controls kick in. The file being referenced is already labeled high confidential legal. So when the user tries to paste that content into ChatGPT, Purview blocks the action immediately. At the same time, the DLP policy prevents AI tools like ChatGPT from suggesting content that originates from these protected sources. And importantly, the attempt is logged and flagged in Purview, allowing security or compliance teams to review it later if needed. Here is another practical example, this time from a marketing scenario. A user copies data from a labeled Excel file that contains customer personal identifiable information and tries to paste it into ChatGPT to get campaign ideas. Thanks to Microsoft Purview, the system immediately steps in. The file was labeled with a sensitivity label, so the copy paste action is blocked right within the browser session. Then endpoint DLP kicks in. It not only block the action but also alert the user with a clear message as shown in the notification. Behind the scenes, the event is also logged in audit reports and, if needed, can be escalated through insider risk policies for further investigation. All right, let's see all these policies in action, live and in real time. I will walk you through how they work, from sensitivity labels to DLP rules and blocking GenAI activity. Let's jump into the demo. In this demo, I will be presenting you how we can prevent data leaks um, using Microsoft Purview. In the first part, I will showcase you if you have a file which is in a draft mode or it's saved mode, how we will block copy pasting in GenAI platforms. And in that part, I will be showcasing you on different browsers, uh, Chrome, Edge, and I'll also be showcasing you on different GenAI platforms, ChatGPT, Copilot, and DeepSeek. And also, I will showcase you if somebody has an app on their system, can we prevent data sharing or copy pasting on the app. So in the second part, I will showcase you how we can prevent managed files which has already sensitivity label applied and stored in your SharePoint, OneDrive, um, or in your systems. Um, how we can prevent it using Microsoft Purview. So let's start with uh, graph files or unmanaged files. So in the unmanaged files, I have a notepad file open. If you can see my screen, so in this one, I have some dummy social security and visa card numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on copy it. Okay, I have copied it. This is the file. The point I'm trying to highlight here is the file is not even saved in my system and not in or not in my OneDrive. So in this case, that's the reason I'm even able to copy that file. If the file would be saved in my OneDrive or in my system, the system will not even let me copy it. Okay, so I have copied the content from this notepad file, which is in draft mode. Now I'm going to open my Edge browser. This is my Edge browser. In the Edge browser, I have already opened ChatGPT, and I'm going to paste in this. So as you can see it here, I got a message that from Microsoft Purview, your organization has blocked pasting protected content to unprotected locations. So this is a message. So let's try out in the Copilot, and in the Copilot, I'm going to try to paste it again. The same message appear. Your organization has blocked pasting protected content to unprotected locations. So now let me go to the Chrome browser and try the same. So this is my Chrome browser and I have ChatGPT open. You can see it here. I'm logged in. In the previous example, I showed you uh, ChatGPT in which I was not logged in, but in this one, I'm showing you I'm logged in and the as with my credentials in the ChatGPT. So now I'm going to do the same. I'm going to paste the content. If you see on the right hand side, the message appears, uh, your organization policy, and you try to paste protected content to an unprotected location. I'm going to dismiss it, and now I'm going to try the same in the DeepSeek. So let's try that. The same message appears. I'm going to dismiss the message again, and now I'm going to paste it in the Copilot in Chrome. So dismiss is not letting me pasting the content. So now I'm going to show you. I also have a ChatGPT app in my system, and in which I am already logged in. I'm going to paste the same content, so it's blocking me here as well. So in the second case, I am going to show you one more example. Okay, so this the same file. So this was the file was in a draft mode. Now in this case, I have saved some dummy SSN and Visa cards. Okay, and but this file is saved in my system. So I would like to show you, like, if I try to copy, what's going to happen. So as I try to copy this file, so it gives me a message that your organization policy copying purview demo txt is open, not allowed. So I'm going to dismiss it. So like I told you before, so if the file is saved in my system, even it will not even let me copy it. Okay. So now let's uh, let's try a use case of a Word file, which is in my system, and I'll try to use that file. So let's see, I have the file in my system. In the previous slides, like I was mentioning you about watermarking, so the file is has a label applied, which is encrypted, and in which through the label the file user is getting a clarity. Okay, this is a confidential file. It has a date and some ID as well of the owner. And now let's see if we can copy the content from this file and paste it in GenAI platforms. So I have copied it from the Word file. Now I'm going to go to my ChatGPT window, and I try to paste it. Again, the same message appears. So I'm going to dismiss it. Now let's try the use case to upload this file into a ChatGPT and see if we are able to use that file in such way. Okay, so I'm going to let me go here, and I'm going to click on upload, and let's try the same file. So file is in use. Okay, I cannot upload it. So let me close this file. I'll try to now let's try to upload. As you can see it here, it gives you an unknown error, and this error will be keep if you keep trying to upload, it will keep giving you the same error because the file is protected and you are not allowed to upload that file on any GenAI platforms. Okay, so uh, so now let's try to upload a file which is not labeled, which doesn't have any label. Okay, so this is the file I already know, which doesn't have any label, and create a summary. So I give a prompt. So you see that ChatGPT used that file, and was able to create a content from it. So that's it from my side, guys. I would highly recommend all the organizations to use sensitivity labels. And on top of that, um, 80% of the organizations are also uh, utilizing GenAI platforms. So it is very crucial that we apply sensitive labels across all the organizations through all our storage and secure our intellectual property using Microsoft Purview. Royal Saber has expertise in that area, and we are always welcome our customers if you need any assistance. Thank you so much for watching this demo.